So, hi everyone. It's really nice to have you here. My name is Alina, and together with John, we are the co-chairs of the GSC Academic Research and Career Committee. So we have organized this event so that we can help all of you ace the negotiation process throughout your career. Now, how this event will go is that we will let Katie give her spiel. It's an interactive workshop, so look forward to it. And then afterwards, it will be followed by a Q&A session, and then dinner will be served right afterwards. So one quick note about the dinner is that food is not allowed in the classroom. So just make sure that when you have dinner, you will just be outside and don't bring it here. And Katie will be at the dinner reception as well. So if you don't have any questions answered if you don't have your questions answered in the Q&A session, please feel free to have dinner with Katie. And so now for this workshop, we have invited Katie as a speaker, and she is a salary negotiation consultant and founded her own company, Equal Pay Negotiations LLC, that teaches pay, benefits, and career negotiation skills. Mrs. Donovan speaks on equal pay issues, salary negotiations, and career management at venues such as Harvard Business School and National Association of Women MBAs. We are excited to have her with us today. Please join me and welcome Mrs. Katie Donovan.
Someone's very big at clapping. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here tonight, and I'm really very excited for you, not so much for me, that you all are taking the time to learn this skill. And I think I found the right title for this workshop from this day forward. We're going to include the how to earn extra $1 million in your life, because that seems to have gotten you here. The agenda for today, I'm going to set some foundation elemental things about negotiating and the hiring process so you understand why the verbiage that I'm going to throw at you later should be used. Putting it in context should help, so you're just not saying, hey, that's too low, why should I accept that? You know, let's have a little context. Then we'll talk about, actually before we do the actual scripts, we'll do a little role play, like a 3 to 5 minute quick one. Then I'll give you some language to actually use in your negotiations, and then open it up to Q&A. So yes, I did not make that number up. Salary.com did the actual math based on average US income, which is right now around $46,000, a little over. If you get offered a job for $45,000 and negotiate it to $5,000 up to $50,000, and from that moment forward, keep negotiating throughout your career, there will be an extra $1 million in your life. That's not getting, and you guys already did the hard work, you've already gotten extra degrees and stuff, and you're already in STEM where everyone says you're supposed to be to get the big bucks. That's not even doing that stuff. So think of how much more you will be getting because you're MIT grads, graduate grads, for crying out loud. For the ladies in the room, it will close your gender gap, and we'll cover that as well. And it actually is important for you men to know because it changes some of the research you do. So since they're in the average lifetime, about $350,000 minimum is lost from a woman just for the gender pay gap here in the United States. It varies from each country, but I'll use the US stuff. You will negotiate that away, so good for you. More importantly, depending on what you want to happen in your career, the more you negotiate, the better your leadership options become. And we'll talk specifically about how that plays in as well in a little bit. But just know, negotiating, all good stuff. So I was once on a panel about 2 years ago, and every time the moderator came to me, she physically went like this, like boxing. And she didn't know it until I pointed out, why do you get into the fighting stance just because we're talking about negotiation? And that is not just her kind of default mentality about the negotiation game in hiring. Most people, men, they talk more maybe about football and baseball. Women, dentists, getting cavities filled is a real common analogy. It's not a fight. It's far from it. It's not conflict resolution. It's actually and this might be a very girly way to consider it, but I look at salary negotiation as the first dance at a wedding. And I do this to help soften the approach, because it really is something so expected. 84% of hiring managers expect you to negotiate your salary. So think of that. If I expect you to do something, I need to leave money to the side to actually negotiate with you. If I have a budget of 50 grand, just to use a number, I can't offer you that 50 grand right from the beginning. I have to offer you 40, 42, maybe 45. Because I'm not going to be that loser manager who then has to go to my manager and say, hey, we really want John, but he didn't accept the 50, I need to now offer him 55. No one wants to be that stupid person. So they're all going to leave some money to the side. And it's your job to raise your hand, and you still do that in classes, I'm assuming. Raise your hand and ask for it. That's how expected it is, 84%. That's huge. I know you guys wouldn't settle for a B, but that's a good number. It's a routine, just like a dance. There is such a routine to it when we get to the actual language. Some of you who have worked before you came to grad school, the language will be familiar. You're like, oh my gosh, someone said that to me in my first job. It's just, and most managers don't all go to the same school, but somehow we all have the same language. It's that routine. So just like a dance, they find the 3-minute song, they get a little routine. They don't need to learn everything about dancing at a wedding. They just need to know that one song. And all you need to know, you don't need to know how to negotiate world peace, corporate mergers, anything else, just this one about 10-minute conversation. That's all you need to know. That's the routine. The most important part, you can screw up every single word along the way, but if you practice and are comfortable, it goes so smoothly. If you can say, that seems low, the same way you say your name, no one thinks about it. But if you say, that seems low, they're going to go, oh, I can ram right over her or him, and they will. So we don't want that. And no matter how you feel inside, just like at the weddings, and some of you might be too young that you haven't gone to a ton of weddings yet, but believe me, at some point you'll have gone to a ton. And some people are horrid dancers no matter how much they practice, and we're still all going to clap for them. You can feel horrid inside, but your manager, the 84% who expect you to negotiate, will all be very happy they're hiring the person who actually did negotiate. They're actually disappointed when you don't. They're thinking maybe that wasn't the best hire, and you haven't even started your first day. So let's not do that. So when are they expected by these 84% of people? New job, absolutely, positively, without a doubt. Performance reviews. The bigger the company you work for, the more formal they are, and every June we have performance reviews or whatever. Practice then, but don't expect much. There may be 1%, maybe 2 extra percent you can get, but there's very little available then. Because what happens is the performance raises are planned out months and months and months and months and months beforehand. And by the time you're maybe 5th or 6th in a department of 10 getting your performance review, half of the money's gone. There's really very little available. So that's a good practice time, but don't expect it then. When you really are going to get the big increases, well, you get the biggest increase when you get the new job. The second biggest increase is when you negotiate your pay off cycle. And that's the day you realize you're getting paid too little. And that can be job creep. You might get a job that your manager, XYZ, and you have 10 things that you're in charge of. And suddenly one day you look and you go, I feel like I'm doing more director level work and I'm in charge of like 45 things, but yet I have the same title. How did that happen? And that will happen to every single one of you in this room. Don't think it won't. When that happens, you go to your manager and say, hey, can we talk about my job and responsibilities? I'm not sure if I'm doing everything, maybe we should talk about the pay for that too. Promotions, they love giving you a new title, they may not give you new pay to go with it. Don't let them say, hey, you're now the senior whatever, or oh, you're the VP of. The following question will be, and how much does that pay? Don't let them just give you the title. Market value has increased. Anyone who was hired back in like 2009 is very aware of this. They got bought at bargain basement in the height of the recession. And there's people coming in now getting paid much more than their 1-2% annual increases. Or even they probably got a decrease along the way because companies have been, oh, we're so poor, we can't pay you. Actually, we want you to work double and we'll pay you less. Will you take that from us? Don't let them. And then inflation. Even though us older people still have a hangover from the recession, there has been inflation every year since that. Small, but it adds up. And if you've been at a job in your life, at some point, bless you, you'll have been in a job maybe 3, 5, 10 years. Has it kept up with inflation? There are inflation calculators. Just go on the web, search one, find it, whichever. Enter what you started at in the year and then what year you're at then. Does your money have the same purchasing power? And if it doesn't, go get more money. Because you want to at least not lose ground after working 5 years for the same company. That would be horrendous. And it happens every single day of the week. Don't be that person. Okay, so this is a little, not so much negotiation purely, but career management at the same time, because you're most powerful in your negotiation when you don't have to accept what they give you. So you have to create options to be really comfortable with, like, yeah, I could take this job, but I also have 4 other offers. Or at least I'm talking and interviewing with other companies, and this is not my only option there. So, and during your career, you want to keep this going as well, because recruiters absolutely prefer hiring passive candidates than active candidates. That means you're happy as can be with whatever you're doing, but you're open to the next challenge. That's the language you use when you see people at networking events. Yeah, I'm open to other things if they come up, but I'm really happy where I am. Never let them know you're actually looking. So, go to MIT grad alumni stuff every now and again. Go to trade association events every now and then. Keep networked. LinkedIn, whatever, online networking. Stay current in your current job, and this is more for the women in the room. There's a tendency of this mentality that it hurts my company if I'm doing the full-time work to get a job, so I'll quit now and let them get someone who can do the full-time job that I'm quitting as I'm looking for a new job. Never, ever, ever quit your job unless you already have a new job. Not only for negotiating purposes, because you just lost your options completely, but you just doubled your search time for the new job. You know how I just said recruiters love passive candidates? They hate the unemployed. They may not say it publicly, but they will not put you on the list as quickly as someone who's employed. And it will easily double your length of time for search. And then this one, I didn't think I ever had to say it until I had a client call me one day. Katie, I'd love to engage you to help learn how to negotiate my new job offer. I was so busy this morning, I quit my other job so I could negotiate this. What? You don't have the new job yet. They just told you they're going to give you an offer. Don't quit until you actually have something in writing. So obviously, that needed to actually be said. So take that in stride. Create options. It's really important. The other thing, and this is for everyone in the room, job descriptions are pipe dreams. Those people and those jobs do not exist. I used to work in staffing. I worked for Headhunter. You know, we went out to companies and sat down with hiring managers and took the job descriptions. And they'd go on for days and tell you 20, 30 things, and they have to do this, and they're going to be responsible for that, and I want them to be from MIT and Harvard and nowhere else. And then you'd stop and say, okay, so really what's important? Because there's only 3 to 5 things that's important. The rest of it's what they'd like to have, but no one could do all that stuff in a day. It doesn't exist. So if you think, oh, I couldn't actually get that job, or someone pats you on the back and says, hey, I think you're ready for the promotion. Let's talk about you doing this. Don't say, oh, I don't think I'm ready. Say, tell me more. And that's creating more options again, that you're applying for those jobs you think are out of reach. If you hit 3 to 5 of the bullets, and especially the first 3 to 5, because those really are the key things. Everything else is just wish list. It's a unicorn, doesn't really exist. Go for it. All right, so now we're getting close to the role play. I'm excited about that. Hopefully you are. As a candidate, you should have 3 numbers in your mind. At the same time, the hiring managers have 3 numbers in their mind. And this is why negotiating is not conflict. Right here, understanding this slide. As a candidate, you're going to go in and say, the lowest I'm ever going to accept to do this job is X. And that's going to be based on research. It's not based on what your student loans are. It's not based on, I really want to live in Beacon Hill. It's not based on any of those things. It's based on the market value of the job. Then you're going to have a goal, which is going to push you a little more higher into the market value of the job, because you're MIT grad students, for God's sakes. You should be at the highest level of the market value of the job. And then your counter is going to be even bigger than that, because you can't get what you want if you don't ask for more. If you ask for 50 grand, they give you 50 grand. Or, more likely, and that's when it was worth 75. If you ask for 50, they'll give you the 50 when it's worth 75, but they'll more often than not give you 40. So ask for more than what you think it's valued at. At the exact same time, good employers, and you may have a bad manager, so I can't counter for them. They know, hey, I think I can get Lena for 50 grand, which we know they're much more than that. So my initial offer to her is going to be 45. And the job has already been budgeted. And this is an important point. No job is being interviewed for if it hasn't been approved and budgeted. I don't care how new a startup it is, how small a company it is. Someone somewhere said, yeah, we can pay up to 100 grand for this job. If they don't have that budget, they don't have a job opening. So you'll be able to ask them for, hey, what's the budget? As long as you get somewhere between the goal of the candidate and the budget of the employer, you both walk away happy. There's not blood on the streets, which is how a lot of us feel like you're somehow taking money out of this poor hiring manager's hands. You're not. They're ready to go to the top of their budget. So do the little dance to get as close to it as possible. And this is where our little activity comes in play. So there's 4, I think it's evened out. So hopefully you are sitting on the back of your handouts like this. There is a sheet stapled to it, small little sheet, and either you're a hiring manager or a job candidate. And I want each of you to, hopefully you're sitting next to each other, that you talk to each other for 2 seconds. Well, really, we'll do like 3 minutes, maybe 5. I want the hiring managers, okay, before you start, listen for a couple more seconds. The hiring managers to throw out what their initial offer is. And then from there, follow whatever the numbers are there. Use those numbers for you to decide what you say after that. The candidate should respond, the hiring manager back and forth, and come to some kind of agreement. The goal for the hiring manager, stay within your budget because you can't go $1 over. And the goal for the candidates, try to get your goal. Have fun. Okay. All right, does anyone have agreement yet? Oh, we have a few. Okay, another minute. All right, I'm going to put a stop to it now. Doesn't matter if you got agreement or not. Okay, let's come back together and be quiet. How did that feel? Awesome. Who said awesome? Or awful? Oh, awesome. Okay, why did you say awesome? You both won. Okay. So would you be willing to share what number did you end up with? We ended up at 48,000. Okay, and what was the highest? So they ended up at 48,000. What was your goal? 45. And what was the manager's budget? So did you feel depressed at all? So the goal was 45, the budget was 50, they got to 48. Did you feel depressed at all that you left 2,000 on the table? She's fine with that, which is good. That's fine. If we could have gotten to $49.99, I would have felt better, but that's okay. Anyone else feel confused, anxious, scared? Okay, I see a few a little bit. Anyone want to share that experience? Or just how about, anyone feel like they didn't know what the next word should be? Okay, how do you nicely say that sucks, I'm not going to take it? Is that what it, okay. That's what we're going to learn, how to nicely move the conversation along, even though you're both going to be happy at the end. Does that feel like a good place to go next? Okay. By the way, how many people here have ever negotiated a salary before? Because I know some of you worked before. That's really impressive. I usually do not see that. So why are you here? You should have let the other 25 on the wait list come on in. Come on. All right. So what's going to happen? You guys and gals are doing a lot of interviewing, and you're hoping to have a job by the time May comes around, or even before then, so you can just cruise through the spring. When they offer you whatever they offer you, 400 million, whatever it is, bigger than you ever thought it's going to be, it's still too low. Remember that, because they're never going to offer you the best at the beginning. So what you need to do, first just calm yourself and get past that excitement of, oh my gosh, I don't have to look for a job anymore. Thank them very much. The thank you actually is amazingly important. It helps the relationship side of this. It keeps the courteous professional side of it. Thank you so much for interviewing me. Thank you so much for the job offer. I can't believe I have the opportunity to work for you, your company, you personally, whatever you it is. But hey, I'm going to need time to review this. to make an informed decision. Because once again, you're MIT, you guys are smart. Don't just do something on gut. Here's the thing with job offers nowadays. Medical is amazingly important, and medical can change an offer that looks amazingly good into you losing money. Because you may be on your parents' health care now, and you go to your own and you realize, oh my gosh, my parents had this premium thing, and I'm on like this C level where I'm paying 80% of the premium, and I have a $5,000 deductible, and the copay is $60. And that means nothing to most of you, but sit down with someone that it means something to and figure that math out. You can lose tens of thousands of dollars if you have a really bad health care. So do that math. But also you got to do the math of not just the actual job, it's the bonus. Did you get a signing bonus? Is there a commission? Is there an end-of-year bonus? Vacation time, that has money associated to it. Do you have education reimbursement? Are they going to pay for you to belong to any kind of trade associations? Are they going to send you off to conferences? What are they doing to make this worth it for you? Figure all that out. But even if you don't have to do all that math, because you're smart and you can do it in 2 seconds, that what would have taken me a day, you still want the anxiety and the excitement to go away. So you're going to step away, either hang up or do a quick response to the email they sent you. Thanks again, let me get back to you. And then check on when the offer dies. Every offer has an expiration date. Can I get back to you Monday? Can I get back to you Tuesday? Whatever it is. And if they have an issue, they'll say, no, it's only good till. If they are crunching your time, it's a really bad offer. I don't care what it is. Anyone who's pressuring you, it's like the used car salesman. If they're pressuring you, there's something wrong, do not accept it. Stand your guns on this one. Okay, so now you get back to them. And oh, by the way, you probably got the offer from the HR recruiter. You're getting back to the hiring manager, the person who's actually going to make you're going to make their life better. Because the recruiters, they're lovely people. They have zero power to say yes. So don't take no from them. And I borrowed that line just now from Eleanor Roosevelt. I know, it's like 100 years old now, but it's still, HR as a whole, the entire department basically can never say yes, but they're really good at saying no. So don't talk to them if you can at all avoid it. Go straight to your hiring manager and say this. Thanks so much for the offer. I wanted to give you the courtesy of letting you know my thoughts before talking to anyone else. If you word it that way, it doesn't sound like what you just did, which is go around HR. I want to give you the courtesy. And then say, once again, I'm so excited. I can't believe I can work for you at your company and do this job. But that really seems low. That's all you're going to say. You're not throwing out a counter offer. You're not saying you're not taking it. You're not saying the word no. You're just saying it just seems low. And you're going to have to do research to back it up. I'm guessing most of you are familiar, I hope most of you are familiar, or have at least heard the words salary.com, payscale.com, or Glassdoor. Those are kind of the classic websites to do salary research. Any and every job site nowadays has some kind of salary calculator. Some are better than others. Use at least 2 and get a consensus. If one says the job should pay $100,000 and the other one says it should pay $200,000, go find a third to break the tie. Because that's not working. You need to find a consensus. Absolutely underutilized research places, trade associations, whatever industry you work in, whatever career you have. The engineers in the room, for the women there's SWE, Society of Women Engineers. For men there's like 4,000, well for everyone there's the IEEE, there's just tons and tons of engineering associations. go on their sites. A lot of them do annual or biannual research on what the salaries and the benefits are for the jobs that fall in their trade association. Some of them you may have to join, others you can get a certain amount. You kind of get like the executive summary, but it's there. Here's the better one. Hey, call a headhunter and say, I'm graduating MIT and I'm thinking I should get X for this job. Do you have anything? And they'll say, well, one, you can do a lot better than what you said. And yeah, I love working with MIT grads, so come on over. Or they'll say, no, I wait till you actually have your first job and I'll work with you on your second, which is very common. But they'll also tell you at the same time you're aiming too high or too low. It's a 3-minute conversation, and it's worth it, because headhunters know so much more than the rest of us, because they do this all day long. Now, here's where I'm going to talk about the gender pay gap. And guys, this is actually important to you because it's going to screw up all your research. In the US right now, it's 78 cents on the dollar that women earn to men. That's annually. And as Mark Twain once said, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics. This is the number based on weekly. I don't know why, but it's 81 cents on the dollar for weekly. I use this number specifically because it's from the Department of Labor and also the Narrow the Gap, but it has it for like 135 different careers. So there is a gap almost any and every job. Pharmacists, though, are 100%. If you were a pharmacist, you could make the exact same amount of money. What that means is your research is skewed, because if I go and talk to John, male engineer, and he says, oh, I'm making $125,000, and Alina, female engineer, saying, I'm making $75,000, salary.com is going to tell you, go make 100 grand. That's the median. Well, I want to aim for what the guys are making. So you have to do the math, or at least just go higher. So if you think you should get the median, here's an example of marketing assistant on salary.com. The annual median is 41, but if you adjust it for based on the gender pay gap of that industry and the makeup of men and women working in that industry, in that job, it's really 47.5 that you want to aim for if you were aiming for the median. I don't recommend anyone aim for the median, but that really should be your bottom base, nothing lower than that. No one wants to be in the bottom half. So if you thought you should get the median, you should really, men and women, aim like for the 75 percentile or even the 90 and use that math as that's the market. Does that make sense? I'm assuming that makes sense to you more than other groups I talk to. Really important, very important. If you want to get down to to the nitpicky, I have a mobile app, Earn More Girl, if you want to check that out. Okay. So believe it or not, those of you who have already started interviewing, oh, I got to move it along, have already started the negotiating. And those of you who actually already worked before have really started it if you filled in the blank of when it said, well, what was your last job and what were you paid there? Never, ever, ever answer that. It can only bite you in the butt. Because what they're going to do is first use it as a grading system. They look for people making about 10 to 20% lower than what the new job will pay. So if they have a job for 100 grand, they're looking for someone making around 85, 90. If you happen to be a woman or a person of color making anywhere from 22 to 45% lower, it's really hard to overcome that. You're never even going to get out of the phone screen stage. You're never going to get to it. Leave it blank, even on the online applications, even when it comes back with the exclamation saying it's a required field. When it comes back with that exclamation, put in 0 or 1. All it's looking for is a digit. You just gave it 1. 0 should handle the digit. This is absolutely a biased question. It's my goal to end it. When you get the phone screen with the recruiter, they're going to say, hey, you met all the needs on your background, but I noticed you didn't fill in your past salary in the last job. I'm sorry, it's confidential, which it is for 60% of you. 60% of us work where our salaries are confidential. So hey, I'd love to share it with you, but I can't, it's confidential. If that's not the truth, I'm not sure how relevant it is, because I'm graduating from grad school. That's your answer, you don't need to know any other. It has nothing to do with the value now. Because what they do with it is just say, add 10 or 15% to your last pay, regardless of your education experience and accomplishments. So you're getting a grad degree, it doesn't matter. The other question that you've already answered probably in applications, yes? Okay, we'll get to that. Hold the questions, and I wasn't sure if you weren't hearing me correctly, so hold that till later. Desired salary, once again, they're hoping you will say 50 grand and they're offering 100 grand, and they will give you 50 grand. So don't answer it, it's just gonna hurt you. Let them say the number first. Once again, on the online application, 0 or 1, just a digit, and they'll come back during the phone screen and ask the same question, and they'll put it this way: we don't want to waste your time. What are you looking for? And remember I said no job is a job unless it's budgeted? You were going to say, oh, let's try going forward. Here we go. I don't know enough about the job to know what the job should pay. It's not about you. It's about the job. Can you hold it, or is it?
Just real quick about what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the 0 or 1 kick you out of the system automatically if there's screening with that?
No, okay, so how recruiters work. I actually sold these online application systems for years and talked to hundreds of recruiting departments. Time I can never get back, but I'm sharing with you. So this is what they do in a really good economy. Every resume that comes in, they're like, oh my gosh, I got a resume, let me look at it. And they hear a ding from the system, and they open it up and they scan every word. In a bad economy, they wait till like, oh, okay, I'll do this job at 10, that job at 11, this job at noon. And they use the keywords from the top 3 to 5 bullets of the job and do a search for that. Because right now, they're getting 250 resumes for each individual job. They're not reading 250 resumes. It is more important for you to actually change your resume to fit the job description than to fill in the 0. If you fit that, they're calling you and saying, what do you want to make? What did you make in the last job? If you don't meet that, they never saw your resume anyway. So it's about the job. So tell me what the job should pay. Another way of saying that, hey, what have you budgeted it for? But let's talk about the job. Let's not talk about me. But we don't want to waste your time. We want to ballpark it. Well, hey, it's negotiable. You know, if we decide I'm a fit, you're a fit, we can negotiate it. Another good way, hey, a competitive salary. Meaning, I'm checking out what's going on. You can't just blow smoke. All really good lines. And it's more about getting comfortable with them. They're going to sound really weird the first few times you say them. So, while you're driving, while you're brushing your teeth, while you're cooking, wherever you are that you can talk to yourself. Hey, that seems low, looking for a competitive salary. Well, tell me more about the job and what the job should pay. I don't understand it enough after reading 3 paragraphs to tell you what it should pay. That's what you want to be doing. 2 seconds more. When in doubt, when you have no idea what you're going to say next, I could say yesterday if. And if can be, you give me a Nantucket summer home, you give me $20,000 more, 2 weeks more vacation, throw out whatever you want. Make it really big. Because if they give it to you, you have to say yes. So don't make it just 5 grand. Because they just want to end it. They're just tired, they want to end it, they want to move on to the next thing. Now, they're going to lie to you, just like a cop trying to get a confession from a perp. They're going to lie. Wait a minute. My fingers are not doing well tonight. Here we go. It's gamemanship. And here are the lies you're going to hear. When you say, like, oh, that seems low based on my research, well, your research is wrong. Don't fight them on it. Great. You're a big company. You have much more resources than I could ever have. Let's show me your data. They're not. They never will show you the data because they're using the exact same salary.com. So just, they'll move it on to, oh, well, never mind that. Let's go to something else. And then they'll tell you, but that's the best we can do. We can't afford more. Do you really want to work for a company that's going under if they pay you 10 grand more? No. So that's why you're going to do the research on their finances anyway, so that you understand that they're sound and you can work for them for the next 2 years and not worry about paying your own rent, and then call them on it when they say that, because they will say this, we can't afford more. Wow, that's real curious, because I noticed you did 10% increases in profits, or you just signed a huge government contract, or you just, whatever it is that makes you basically say BS to them. Be informed and call their BS. That's what everyone starts with. They will say, especially for those jobs, like we're bringing in 10 engineers to start on a new project. Out of the 10, 7 of them started on that. Absolutely, 7 of them accepted that line, but 3 of them said, doesn't matter. That's really interesting, but I'm talking about the market. Keep bringing it back to the market. Just like a house, there's a market rate. And they might say, but would you be happy here? Isn't happiness, are you money hungry? Isn't happiness important? Don't you want challenges? Don't you want to work for name brand? Yeah, that's really interesting, but it's still not the market. That's your nice way of saying, once again, not relevant. And then finally, we're almost at the end, and then you can ask all your questions. They're going to say you're going to need more experience. They're going to say that to people who are 50 and 60. People who are better than you get that. You need to know how your results for whether it was a project at school, a job you had before you went to grad school, talk in terms of money. Because at the end of the day, money is the fuel of every nonprofit, every government agency, every public company, every private company. And if you understand how you impact that fuel, you can get whatever you want. And I truly mean it, because most people don't understand this. So, I tried to make this from like entry level, summer job, internship stuff. So you don't really even need to already be the CEO to talk in these terms. So I'm a really good waitress. I waitressed summers or full-time while I was going for grad school. I averaged 5 grand more, 500 more than the highest average. 5 grand per shift, higher than the average, and this is how I did it. Most of us would talk about, I'm pushing the alcohol and I'm turning tables faster, and forget to mention the money. Start with the headline, the money headline, and then get into the details. If you start the other way around, by the time you get to the money, they have not been paying attention to you for 5 seconds, and they miss it. I got elected as president of XYZ Club. I grew the membership of XYZ Club by X. That's better, but here's even better. I grew the budget by growing the membership, and thus I was able to deliver more to our members. So you got to keep going until you see a dollar sign. You're not done until you see a dollar sign. This is the hardest part. If you can do this, you have no idea how much better your life just got. Ending it. Hey, yay, we got an agreement. Send it to me in writing. I'll make sure it's what I thought it was, and I'll sign it if it's how I understand our agreement to be. You did not get to an agreement. Thanks for working with me. I wish you the best of luck, because Boston, if any of you stay in the Cambridge-Boston area, it is amazingly small. You're tripping over these people again in your lives. Be nice. You want to be able to play with them again. And this is a recap. Management and negotiation go hand in hand. You cannot do one without the other. You will actually get $1 million more. It's the value of the job, it's not the value of you, although each and every one of you is priceless. I want you to know that. Company financials are key. It's more about that. How they really decide what the job is going to pay is, what's the market, what can we afford, and then how dumb is this person to accept less? And practice. So a special offer, and then we'll open it to Q&A, and we'll have about 10 minutes for Q&A. I have online courses, so if you want to get more in depth on this and really learn about how to present yourself even more in depth. I do focus on women, sorry guys, if you want to watch it, you can. A 40% discount, so you use MIT40 and just go on my website, Equal Pay Negotiations. And yes, there is a timeline for this. It ends on November 21st. So that's the offer. It's on your sheet as well. You have some of the lines here on the sheet. And now I open it to Q&A. Oh, thank you. Okay. And that's how you can get in touch with me. Okay, the intern question.
The intern question was, what are your peers earning? And they've asked me that before, and I never knew what to ask. And I have a second question now, which is, so on the resume line, putting like money signs and dollar signs everywhere, I feel like it depends, because like when you go to career fair here, the people at the career fair are often like the actual engineers that would probably be your peers that want to know about the engineering content that you had in that job, and not the money that became for the company, So should you have two resumes, one for the hiring manager?
Wait a minute, who's putting money on their resume?
Oh, sorry, didn't you say like
You're putting yes, you're putting that on your resume, absolutely.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So sometimes the people that you're talking to and giving your resume.
Then you're talking to the wrong people, don't talk to them, stop talking to them, don't ever talk to them. Walk away. Really, I'm telling you that. If they're sending people to a job fair that can't actually hire you, run the frig away and go talk to your career center and say, what are you doing to us? Don't ever do that again. And as for what your peers are making, it's their job to figure out what an internship should pay, not yours. They're just they're hoping you're stupid enough to answer. That's what they're hoping. Say, I assumed you did the market research on what internships are, and oh, by the way, you can't not pay me because that would be illegal, so figure it out. Push comes to shove, say $20 an hour. Yes?
So I found this a little tricky in the past with who the best person is to negotiate with, the hiring manager or HR.
Never HR. Never HR.
Why?
Because they can't say yes. It's not their budget unless you're working for HR. So they would negotiate with you and say, okay, now I have to go get approval for that. So then they're going to go give an argument that you're not in the room to argue for yourself. And the manager can say, no. You need to argue for yourself, not some person who does not even understand engineering. Which would be me. I wouldn't know what to say.
Opportunity to set precedent up front, right? Like let's say I can either tell them what I'm expecting their initial offer to be, or
No.
wait for them to come in.
If you say the number, it's the ceiling. If they say the exact same number, it's the floor. Which do you want it to be? The floor. You want them to say the number first. Never say a number. That's why, remember I said keep, what's your desired salary? I said keep it blank or 0 or 1. I didn't make this up. I'll send you all the negotiating books about you want the other person to say the number first. And you're going to, when it's the recruiter, because it will, 9 times out of 10, it will be a recruiter following up with you with the offer. Oh, Susie, we're so happy for you. Here's an offer. Thank the recruiter profusely, and then give the hiring manager the courtesy to understand your thoughts. You're not even saying you're negotiating with them. You're just telling them the thoughts. And the thoughts could be, if I take the job at what you just offered me, I'm losing 20 grand. Because that's very common. They'll give you tons of money, but the entire package, you're not even breaking even to what you were making before you went to grad school. So there goes 200 grand for no reason. Okay. Yes?
So is there any risk of when you're negotiating and will lose the offer, for example?
Okay, you don't have to go further. I know this question. And I forgot to repeat this questions before. I apologize. The question on the floor right now is, will your job get rescinded? if you negotiate it. No, unless you do it amazingly poorly. I was talking about this yesterday with someone. I've been on a few different panel discussions about salary negotiation, and this question comes out it just always comes up. Everyone's petrified, they'll take my job away. The only time out of like 7 negotiating people that I know at different, and like I didn't know them, I met them at different panels. So we're from all different parts of the country, different specialties, is if you do the Chinese water torture, okay, let's get my salary to 200 grand. Now let's get my vacation to 5 weeks. Now let's get the tuition reimbursement up a little more. Now they're going to kill you. They will rescind that. But if you negotiate courteously, professionally, and just say, hey, your package isn't right, based on the market, I'm looking for it to be 100 grand, 4 weeks vacation is the norm. I can't believe there's not a commuter stipend. I can't believe there's not a relocation stipend. I can't believe there's not this. Just laundry list it, and all very matter-of-factly. They don't want to go to the next person. It's a pain in their ass. They really don't want to do it. Yes, I saw a sweatshirt. The gray sweatshirt? No? Okay, I thought I saw a hand. Oh, you're scratching. Orange. Do not accept a job if you don't understand what you're making either. No, no, wait. Yes, you do. Because salary.com, there is a field with bonuses. Headhunters, they tell you the bonus structures. It's out there. Do not tell me it's not out there. Spend 5 minutes, you'll find it. And make sure you understand the math. If they say we give you some kind of bonus at the end of the year and it's nebulous, which a lot of them are, don't accept it. Say, no, I want to understand the math. I need to be able to figure it out. Yes. Yep. And I'll go to the sides next. No, don't do the Chinese water torture. They'll take the job away from you.
So at that point, one set of iterations, you have to take the job at that point, not completely.
Wait a minute. I'm not, okay. Let me backtrack. So the question is, after 2 rounds, should you accept the job? No, accept the job when it's a good offer.
So you don't rate until you like it.
Walk away. If you go 3 rounds, 2 or 3 rounds, and you're getting nowhere, say, you know what? And this is why options matter. You can say, I'm not going to waste my time talking with you anymore. I have other options. Or if you really want to start a great bidding war, use these words. I would love to accept this today, but I need to talk to the other companies I'm interviewing with and let them know I have an offer on the table. Oh my gosh, I got like 15 grand in 5 minutes just for saying those words, and this was like 20 years ago. That is the best language. I have other companies I'm talking to, they get very nervous. It's not about how many steps you take, it's about, is the package good? But also you said something else, you mentioned email. Even if they email you the offer, try to do this over the phone. So much gets lost in email. The tone, you might read something as overly aggressive when they're just saying, matter of fact, hey, everyone gets 50 grand. And you're reading it of like, oh my God, I gotta go backwards, and they're now taking money off of the table. So phone, if at all possible. Over here, there were some hands and I didn't talk. Yes?
How do you negotiate with this big structure, say a large financial firm or tech company?
Everyone starts at that. Is that what you mean? Yeah, no, everyone doesn't start at that. Remember I said they lie like cops getting confessions? There's the savvier person said, yeah, everyone might start at that, but that isn't the market. And they will, believe me, at least a couple people did not start at that. They make it scary. I'm not saying this is easy. They make it scary, but do it. Yes, I've been ignoring you, I apologize.
How adversarial might you expect it to get? You mentioned they lie like cops. So what's sort of range of
Well, you're going to get, most likely your offer is going to come at something like this. You know what? You were so good, I went to bat for you from the beginning. I went to the mat and got you the most we could ever offer a new person ever in the world. Here's your $2,000. That's just how they set it up. They all set it up like that. They make you think like there's not an inch. It's like, how many people still watch Seinfeld? This is so old. But there's not a square to spare. There really isn't. You know, this is it. They're lying. You will have jerks who yell and scream because they're just jerks, and you decide, do you want to work for them? You'll have others who cower. I mean, their personalities come out through this. Everyone's not the same. But as long as you stay professional and say, like, I'm just trying to get the market value, and I'm not hearing the market value from you. If you do research and it shows you should get $100,000 and they're offering you 75, don't take the job. That is, at the end of the day, what you should take out of this. Don't take a job that's a bad package. It's 7 o'clock. I'm going to get yelled at because they're petrified that you're going to have food stolen from you. So go out and eat. I will be out there. Go find me. Ask questions. And thank you so much.